Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I wanted to show you another comparison here today, and this is of the OMAS Arco Celluloid. So some of these pens here they're all made by different manufacturers, or some of them are, and this is of the OMAS Arco Brown or Bronze, depending on how you would like to call it, and this is from the OMAS Arco Verde or Green. Now, these were celluloid materials that were called Arco, and these were brought to the market in OMAS pens initially. OMAS shut its doors in I think it was around 2015, 2016, around about that date, and unfortunately all of these materials were sold, and Armando Simone Club picked these up, or ASC pens, which are now the pen family. So I think let's just really go through some of these models here. Now, some of these models are all made by ASC or the same people at ASC. So this is the Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra Arco Verde. Now, this is a very large pen. Now, I actually have 4 of these in Verde. I know, why would I want 4? But I do. I've only got 3 in this tray because I want to try and show you some different models that I have here. So this is the Bologna Extra. Now, these come with a Bock Magicflex nib. So this is an ASC pens nib. It's a pneumatic filling pen. So you do have to unscrew this here, this blind knob, and then what you do is you pull this back, submerge in the nib in ink here, and then you put your finger over this hole on the end, you push it down, let go, and then air rushes in and it sucks up the ink into the pen. So this is a pen that I do like a lot. This is, for me, the right size in my hand, the right weight. It's a really nice pen to write with. The nib, although there's only one grade of nib, and it's really a medium nib, which tends to write more like a Western broad. It has a ebonite feed there, and it really does actually work nicely, or write nicely. Now, I do love this Arco Verde material, so I have that in 4 pens. I have 2 in the gold trim, and I have 2 in the silver or the rhodium trim. So I'll skip this other one because it's the same one, and I'll show you this one, and this is the rhodium trim version. So it's exactly the same pen, but it also has a rhodium coloured nib or plated nib there. But for me, these are really nice pens. Now, unfortunately, the prices have gone through the roof on Arco, so you will be paying a lot more for the Arco Celluloid. Now, even with ASC that have bought up this Arco Celluloid when OMAS went under, they've now started to try and almost, I'd say, safeguard some of that Arco material and making smaller pens. And this is a Bexley, and this is the Golden Age Limited Edition, and this is the Waves. Now, this, as you can see here, is a lot smaller than the Bologna Extra. But it's the same Arco Verde celluloid. It's a really beautiful celluloid that you could just see there, just moving around in that light. It's a very nice material, and you'll see there the nib is a Bexley nib, and again with an ebonite feed, but it is a much smaller pen, and for me, I just don't like this pen as much as my Bologna Extras, and it's just one of those things. And I'm going to try and get these threads lined up there. So this also comes in a gold trim and a silver trim, and then we have the Arco Brown or the Arco Bronze, depending on what you like to call it. And again, this is an Armando Simone Club and Bologna Extra Arco, and this is the brown or bronze. And this material tends to, I don't know, I want to say it shines more than the Arco Verde, but honestly, I'd say that the Arco Verde shines more. But it is a beautiful material. And if I unscrew this, again, it has that ASC nib. It's a Magicflex nib, a medium nib that tends to write more like a broad. It's a pneumatic filling pen, whereas the Bexley, if I'm going to have issues lining these patterns up, because there's normally 3 threads. The Bexley itself, if I just come back to this one, I'll show you, this isn't a pneumatic filler, it's a cartridge converter. And I say cartridge converter, it's really more of a piston, because you cannot remove this. It is integrated into the, unfortunately, into the actual pen itself. So for me, I'd say this is actually nicer in terms of being able to clean the pen more easily, but like compared to the pneumatic filling Bologna extras, these are a lot more difficult to clean, and when you want to change ink perhaps, or just flush them out. So I do tend to like cartridge converters a lot, but this is a lot shorter pen, so I'm not a great fan of that pen. And then we have, this one is an OMAS, it's the OMAS Arte Italiana Paragon Grande. Now this looks like a little bit more like a Malord in terms of size, but it's not. It is the Paragon. And you can see there, it does say OMAS there on the cap band. And if I unscrew this, you will see it has the gold-plated vermeil section. And again, this is an 18 karat gold nib, but it's again a Bock nib. OMAS used to have their nibs made by Bock, so this is a Bock nib. And I love how this pen writes. So I really do like that pen as well. And then I have another ASC, and this was when they started coming out. They very quickly released this pen, and then the Bologna Extra and the Arco Brown. This is the Asc Ogiva Tribute, and again, this is a beautiful Arco Brown, and this does actually shine quite a lot there. It really is a beautiful pen, and I think the shape brings out the Arco pattern a little bit more. But it is an Ogiva Tribute. The reason why it's an Ogiva Tribute, because it looks like an OMAS Ogiva. But it does actually come with an OMAS nib there, with an ebonite feeder. But you'll see here, like the Bexley, it's a cartridge, actually a true cartridge converter pen, because you can remove the converter. So for me, this is a nice pen. I actually picked this up actually relatively cheaply compared to some of my other Arcos, because the prices have gone through the roof nowadays. And then I have this one, and this is an Armando Simone Club pen, and this is the Il Gladiator or Il Gladiatore. And again, this is a beautiful Arco Brown material. This one's a little bit more muted, I would say. It's not as shiny. Like you can get it to shine there, but it's not as shiny as some of the other Arco material. Sometimes you can catch the light and it will shine. Now, this is a piston filling pen, and it comes with, again, another ASC Magicflex nib, which tends to write more like a broad nib, but it has this anodized aluminium gold coloured feed on there. This is a beautiful pen. I do like writing with it a lot. It's a very juicy wet pen. There weren't that many of those made, so they tend to sell quite quickly. And then we have this one, and this is a Visconti, and this is the Manhattan Arco. And you can see there, it actually is made for ASC by Visconti. But it's a beautiful pen, and I do like the way that this Arco Brown material shines, certainly on this version of the pen. It really is beautiful. Now this is a power vac filler, so it's not a piston, it's not a cartridge converter, and it comes with a Visconti nib there, but this nib is, if I try to get it to focus a bit better, this is again another Bock nib. A lot of the nibs tend to be Bock, the gold nibs, across a lot of manufacturers, so that Visconti do use Bock for their nibs, like ASC do. And then, last but not least, we have this one. I do have some other Arco Browns as well, and Arco Verdes, but I don't have a pen tray that is large enough to show them all in one go. But this is an OMAS, and this is the Milord. So you can see there, in size comparison with the Paragon Grande, this Milord is a little bit smaller, but again, it's a beautiful pen, and this was made by OMAS, and I do love this pen a lot. This writes very, very nicely. Comes with an 18 karat gold rhodium plated OMAS nib, which again is a Bock nib. You can see the feeder there is an ebonite feed, but this material is really stunning. So this is really just some of the Arco materials I wanted to show off and show you here today, because these materials really are great materials in pens. They're very coveted because they're very, very hard either to find or to buy, because they're harder to find. It drives the prices up of these pens. So all of these pens are in my collection, excluding the Bexley, which is on loan to me from John at stjohnspens.com. So for me, I love the Arco versions of these pens that OMAS started with, and very since sort of more newer years, ASC have picked up and continued to produce pens. And I'm glad that they did buy the Arco material from the OMAS administrators, because it's allowed us to keep this stunning material alive. So for me, here's a comparison of OMAS Arco material. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.